Right, so you heard Ed, Chris, talking about the footsteps of possibly other people getting in or already in against Hillary Clinton. How loud do you think those footsteps are right now with regard to Joe Biden?
Well, let me just say, first of all, to pick up on what you just said to Ed Henry, I've been in this game a long time. I cannot remember a presidential candidate ever saying, well, I'm only going to answer the one question you're entitled to. I've never heard that. And it's a mix of kind of defensiveness and imperiousness that I don't think reflects very well on Hillary Clinton, particularly at a time when she's under pressure to try to get past this. It's only going to get the reporters' backs up. And you know, if she wasn't going to answer one of Ed's questions today, you know, the next time that either Ed questions her or somebody else, they'll be sure to ask the other questions that he wasn't entitled to ask. As far as the footsteps, well, I think you can see it from her attitude. She's got to be worried. You know, I don't know that she's so worried about Biden per se, although he could be the vessel for the discontent. She's got to be worried just by the fact that some of her support seems to be dropping. You know, when you see that she's lost 10 points in the polls, she's still well ahead of Sanders and unannounced Biden in the polls, but she's dropped 10 points in less than a month. Her honesty and trustworthy numbers are cratering. This is not a good time for the Clintons, and, you know, she's a smart woman. Her husband's the master politician. They can't be happy with the way this is going, and certainly that story that you mentioned on the front page of the New York Times wasn't very helpful, with Democrats saying they're very nervous about her.
Yeah, and not just a few Democrats. I mean, when you read that New York Times article, it was pretty in-depth with how many people they talked to within the Democratic Party. The way you termed it, vessel for the discontent, would be Vice President Joe Biden if he gets in. Could you real quickly just kind of handicap it for me, though? What would that look like, Biden versus Clinton? I mean, are there some clear choices for people out there?
Not so much on policy. He's probably to the left of her, both on foreign policy and domestic policy. He starts at a huge disadvantage financially. He hasn't raised any money yet. He's apparently reaching out to some people. We found out this week that only about 10% of the big bundlers, the big fundraisers for Barack Obama have signed on to Hillary. So that means 90% are still out there to raise money from. He's obviously at a huge disadvantage, hasn't got any ground organization, although obviously he would pick up a lot of support from Obama people. But again, I think that the best advantage he would have is not so much that he would beat Hillary Clinton, but he would be there to pick up the pieces if the discontent and conceivably legal problems get even more serious. Remember, I mean, this is not just a political issue anymore. Her server is being in the hands, the custody of the FBI. So is that thumbnail drive that was being handled by her lawyer. That's in the custody of the FBI. Who knows what they're going to find there, what they're going to find about other emails, about efforts to wipe them clean. And that, of course, is, if not legally, at least politically, raises the question of why would she go to such effort to erase her own email server? So there's a lot out there, and he could be the person to pick up the pieces, and I suspect that's what he's thinking about when he thinks of running.
Yeah, and if Ed Henry's watching, he's writing that down, and that's probably why she kept him to one question. Chris Wallace, they just keep coming. Thank you very, very much.
Well, that was all I was entitled to.
Well, you know what we're entitled to watch more of you this weekend. I'd love to do that. Chris is going to talk with one of the Republican candidates this weekend on Fox News Sunday, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Also, the wild week on Wall Street and what China had to do with it. Chris will talk with Liz Ann Saunders, Senior Vice President at Charles Schwab, and Nicholas Lardy, Senior Fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics. That's on Sunday. On your local Fox station, check the TV listings. Don't miss a second.